Commander June stood at the wide window of the bridge. His ship, the UES Defender, hung in the darkness of space. The stars shone bright against the black. June's eyes fixed on the strange ship that had appeared at the edge of human space 3 days ago. "Sir, they're hailing us again," said Officer Kim, her voice tight. June nodded. "Put them through." The screen lit up. A tall figure with pale blue skin and large black eyes looked back at him. Ambassador Tai of the Morax. Their first alien contact. "Commander June," said Ta in a smooth voice. "Empress Suo grows tired of waiting. She wishes to meet Earth's leaders." "Tell your Empress that first contact requires care," said June. "Our protocols." "Yes, your many protocols," Ta cut in. "Our species has met many others. This caution is not needed." June kept his face blank, but his mind raced. The Morax had met other aliens. This was new information. "Very well," he said. "I will arrange a meeting on our neutral station tomorrow." Ta smiled, showing teeth that looked too sharp. "Excellent. Empress Suo will be pleased." The screen went dark. June let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. "I don't trust them," said Officer Kim. "Neither do I," June replied. "But orders are orders. Command wants this alliance." The next day, June stood in the meeting room of Waypoint Station. His dress uniform felt stiff, but he stood tall as the airlock doors opened. First came 4 Morax guards. Then Empress Suo herself entered. She was taller than Ambassador Tai, with the same blue skin, but with patterns that seemed to shift as she moved. Her eyes were not just black, but had small points of light in them, like stars. "Commander June," she said, her voice deep and musical. "I am pleased to meet a human of your rank." June bowed slightly. "The honor is mine, Empress. Welcome to." He stopped. Something had moved behind the Empress. It wasn't a Morax guard. It was something else. The creature padded forward on 6 legs. Its body was long and sleek, covered in scales that reminded June of a snake. But its head was more like a big cat, with jaws that could clearly open wide enough to take off a man's arm. Its eyes were bright yellow and tracked every movement in the room. 2 more creatures followed the first. Each was different. One had spines along its back. Another had what looked like extra joints in its limbs, letting it move in ways that seemed wrong. "Ah," said Empress Suo, noting June's stare. "You admire our guardians." "What are they?" June asked. He kept his voice steady, but his hand moved closer to his gun. "Merely ceremonial guards," said the Empress with a wave of her long-fingered hand. "On our world, leaders are always protected by such beasts. It is tradition." Something about the way she said it made June's skin crawl. "They seem quite alert for ceremonial guards," he said. The Empress laughed. It sounded like bells, but with a wrong note mixed in. "The Morax are known across many worlds for our skill in creating life. These are but simple examples." One of the creatures looked directly at June. Its yellow eyes seemed too smart, too aware. It licked its lips with a forked tongue. "Now," said the Empress, "shall we discuss the future of our species together? We have much to offer Earth." June nodded and led the way to the meeting table. But he couldn't shake the feeling that something was deeply wrong. As they spoke of trade, technology, and alliance, his eyes kept returning to the creatures that never left the Empress's side. Later, as he watched the Morax ship leave the station, Jun made a decision. He needed to talk to his sister Han. If anyone would know about strange beasts, it would be her. And if his gut feeling was right, Earth might be in grave danger. He just hoped he wasn't too late. 3 days after meeting the Morax, Jun's ship landed on Earth. He did not go to command first. Instead, he took a small flyer to the military K9 division on the outskirts of New Seoul. The building was low and gray, surrounded by training fields. Dogs of all sizes ran through obstacles as handlers shouted commands. Jun watched a large black dog leap over a wall that stood twice as tall as a man. "Impressive, aren't they?" said a voice behind him. June turned to see his sister Han. She wore the simple green uniform of a K9 handler, with 3 gold stars on her collar. Her black hair was cut short, and a long scar ran down the left side of her face, a reminder of the resource wars 10 years ago. "Han," June said, hugging her tight. "It's good to see you." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "You didn't come all this way just to watch dogs jump, little brother." June looked around. "Can we talk somewhere private?" Han nodded and led him to her office. The room was small but neat. Pictures of Han with different dogs lined the walls. A large brown dog lay on a bed in the corner. It lifted its head when they entered, eyes alert. "That's Dury," said Han. "Best dog I've ever trained." Dury stood and padded over to sniff June's hand. The dog's eyes were deep brown and somehow seemed wise. "I need to show you something," said June. He took out a small device and placed it on Han's desk. A 3D image of the Morax beasts appeared in the air. Han leaned forward, her face growing serious. "What are these?" "The Morax call them ceremonial guards," Jun said. "But I've never seen animals like them." Han circled the desk, studying the images from all sides. "Because they're not animals," she said quietly. "At least, not natural ones." She turned to a locked cabinet and pressed her hand to the scanner. The door slid open. Han pulled out a thick file marked "Top Secret." "2 years ago, we found this," she said, opening the file. Inside were pictures of strange creatures, not unlike the ones Jun had seen. These were found on a small moon near Ta City. The research team was killed. Jun's blood ran cold. "Buy these things." Han nodded. "And look at this." She flicked to another page. It showed a star map with 12 planets marked in red. These worlds all sent distress calls over the last 50 years. Then went silent. She pointed to another image. A ship that looked just like the Morax vessel. "The Morax," Jun whispered. "We think so," said Han. Each world reported strange animals first. Then their defenses failed. Jun felt sick. "The Morax told us they're skilled at creating life. Those beasts with the Empress, they didn't look natural." Han's eyes narrowed. "They're not just guards, Jun. They're weapons. Living weapons." Dury growled low in his throat, as if he understood. "I need to tell command," said Jun, standing quickly. "They won't listen," Han warned. "The politicians want this alien alliance too badly." "I have to try." Jun looked at the images again. "If you're right, Earth could be next." Han walked to the window and looked out at the training fields. Dozens of dogs ran, jumped, and followed commands. Each one was strong, fast, and smart, the product of thousands of years living alongside humans. "If I'm right," she said softly, "then those things you saw are just the beginning." She turned to face her brother. "Take this file. Show them the proof." "But Jun," her voice grew hard, "if they don't listen, come back here. Because if the Morax are what I think they are, then these dogs might be our only hope." Dury stood and moved to Han's side, standing tall and alert. The dog's eyes met Jun's, and for a moment he could swear the animal understood everything. "I'll do what I can," Jun promised. As he left the K9 division, Jun looked back at the training fields. Han stood watching him, Dury at her side. He couldn't shake the feeling that he might need them both very soon. Command was waiting, but Jun's mind was filled with images of the strange Morax beasts and the worlds that had fallen silent after they appeared. 3 months passed. Command did not listen to Jun's warnings. The file Han gave him was called Unconfirmed and Not Enough Proof. Earth's leaders were too excited about the new alien friends who promised amazing technology. Now Jun stood in the grand hall of the Morax homeworld. He wore his best uniform and a fake smile. Around him, 20 of Earth's top leaders chatted with the blue-skinned Morax. Empress Sioa sat on a tall throne at the end of the hall, watching all with her star-filled eyes. "Isn't this amazing?" asked President Lee, the head of Earth's Global Council. "The Morax will help us jump ahead by 100 years in science." June nodded but said nothing. His eyes kept moving, watching the shadows of the Great Hall. The strange beasts he had seen before were not here today. That worried him more than if they had been. "Commander June," called Empress Sio. Her voice carried across the room. "Come, sit by me. You were the first human I met. It is fitting you should be close for this historic day." June walked slowly to the throne. Something felt wrong. Very wrong. "Empress," he said with a bow, "the Earth is honored by your welcome." She smiled, showing those two sharp teeth. "Oh, I think honor is not the right word for what Earth will feel today." Before June could ask what she meant, a loud bell rang 3 times. The sound echoed through the hall. "Ah," said the Empress, standing. "It is time." "Time for what?" asked June. The Empress's smile grew wider. "For you to see what the Morax truly are." All around the hall, hidden doors slid open. From each one came the beasts, not the same ones June had seen before, but worse, much worse. These creatures were taller, with limbs that bent at odd angles. Their mouths were filled with rows of teeth that dripped with something green. Their eyes were fixed on the humans in the hall. "What is this?" shouted President Lee. "This," said Empress Sio, "is what happens to all who meet the Morax. First, we learn about you. Then we make the perfect hunters to bring you down." The beasts leaped forward. Screams filled the hall. June grabbed the gun hidden in his boot, the one Han had insisted he take. "Run," he shouted to the Earth leaders. "Get to the ships." Some listened. Most didn't move fast enough. The beasts were on them in seconds. June fired at one that jumped toward him. The shot hit it in the eye, and it fell with a shriek. "Impressive," said the Empress, now standing safely behind a clear wall that had risen from the floor. "Most species can't even hurt our war beasts." June didn't answer. He fired again and again, making a path to the door. 5 Earth leaders followed him. The rest were already down. "This way," June called, leading them down a hall toward the landing pads. Behind them, the sounds of the beasts grew louder. They reached the small shuttle. June pushed the others inside and jumped in last. His hands flew over the controls, and the ship lifted off. "What about the others?" cried one woman, her face pale with shock. June shook his head. "They're gone." As the shuttle flew away from the Morax Palace, they could see more ships rising from the surface. Hundreds of them, all heading in the same direction. "They're going to Earth," said June, his voice tight with fear. He hit the emergency signal on the shuttle's panel. The message would go to all Earth defenses. But would it be enough? June thought of Han and her dogs. His warning had come too late for Command to prepare. But maybe, just maybe, his sister had been preparing anyway. The shuttle jumped to light speed. Behind them, the Morax fleet followed. The war for Earth had begun. June's shuttle landed at the New Seoul emergency base 3 days later. The city around them was burning. Smoke filled the sky, turning day into night. Even before they stepped out, they could hear the screams. "How bad is it?" asked President Lee's aide, one of the 5 who had escaped with June. "Bad," said a soldier who met them at the landing pad. "The Morax ships dropped those things everywhere. Major cities hit first. Military bases next." June pushed past them, looking for the base commander. He found General Park staring at a large screen that showed Earth from space. Red dots covered half the planet. "Sir," said June, saluting. "Commander June reporting." General Park didn't even look at him. "We thought you were dead, Commander. Like all the others." "I got 5 out," said June. "What's the situation?" Now Park turned to him. His eyes were red from lack of sleep. "Those beasts they dropped, they're not just killing people. They're hunting them, playing with them." The general pointed to another screen. It showed security footage from a street. A family ran from one of the beasts. It moved fast, catching up easily. But instead of killing them right away, it knocked them down, one by one. Then it stood over them, watching them try to crawl away. "They paralyze," said Park. "Some kind of venom in the claws. Victims can't move but can feel everything." June felt sick. "They're torture machines." Park nodded. "And smart. Very smart. They avoid most traps, figure out defense patterns. Some can even use simple tools." "What about our weapons?" asked June. "They work, but not well. The beasts have thick skin, and they learn. If one sees how we kill another, it adapts." The general pointed to a map of the base. "This is one of the last safe places. We have heavy walls and guns, but they're gathering out there. More every hour." June looked at the feeds showing the area around the base. Shadows moved in the trees. Yellow eyes reflected the light. "I need to find my sister," said June. "Han works at the K9 division." Park shook his head. "That base went dark 2 days ago. No contact since." June's heart sank. Han couldn't be gone. She was too smart, too tough. A loud crash came from somewhere in the base. Alarms started to ring. "They're in," shouted a soldier, running into the room. "East wall is down." Park grabbed his gun. "Everyone to battle stations. Move." June pulled out his own weapon and followed the general. They ran through hallways filled with scared soldiers rushing to defend the base. They reached the east wall. A huge hole showed where something had broken through. Inside, chaos ruled. 3 of the war beasts moved through the room, striking down soldiers with their claws. June fired at the nearest one. His shots hit its side, but it barely slowed down. The beast turned to him, those yellow eyes fixing on his face. It seemed to smile. "Aim for the eyes," shouted June, remembering how he had killed one on the Morax world. A soldier near him fired a clean shot. It hit the beast's eye, and the creature fell with a shriek. But the other 2 were still moving, still killing. Then June heard it, barking. Loud, fierce barking coming from outside the base. The war beasts heard it too. They stopped, heads turning toward the sound. Through the hole in the wall, June saw shapes moving in the darkness. Dogs, dozens of them. And with them, human figures. One stepped forward into the light. Even from a distance, June recognized his sister Han. At her side stood Dury, teeth bared and ready to fight. "Han," whispered June. Hope filled him for the first time since the Morax betrayal. His sister had survived, and she had brought an army. The dogs moved like shadows through the broken wall. Big dogs, small dogs, all breeds and mixes. Each one wore a slim metal collar with a tiny blue light. Behind them came people in dark uniforms, armed with special guns. Han reached June and hugged him tight. "I knew you'd make it back." "How did you find us?" asked June, still shocked to see his sister alive. Han nodded at Dury, who stood alert at her side. "He can smell you from 5 miles away." General Park pushed forward. "What is this?" "A dog squad." "This," said Han, "is Earth's last hope." She led them to a large room where they could talk safely. The dogs spread out, guarding all doors. June noticed that each handler had only one dog, and the pairs stayed close. When the Morax ships came, Han explained, "I knew what was happening. We'd been getting ready since you warned me." "Command didn't listen," said June, anger in his voice. "No," agreed Han. "But that didn't stop us. The K9 division has been preparing for something bad for years. Not aliens, maybe, but something." She touched the metal collar on Dury's neck. "These are neural links. They help us and the dogs work as one team. They're not like the Morax beasts that are made to follow orders. Our dogs choose to fight with us. Dogs against those monsters." Park shook his head. "They'll be killed." Han smiled. It was not a nice smile. "You be surprised, General. Our dogs have something the Morax beasts don't. What's that? Asked June. History, said Han. Dogs have lived with humans for over 30,000 years. They survived ice ages, wars, every bad thing humans have done. The ones we work with, they're the toughest of all. She waved over a woman with a huge gray dog at her heel. This is Jin and her dog Mal. Tell them what you found, Jin. Jin saluted. Sir, the Morax beasts are strong, yes, but they have weaknesses. They rely too much on their senses. They're not good at working together. And they're too confident. They don't expect to be hunted. You've killed some? Asked Park, surprise clear on his face. 17 so far, said Jin. Our dogs can track them by scent, but more importantly, they understand how they think. Predator to predator. Han opened a tablet and showed them a map. We have 50 handler dog teams, small, but each one has taken down at least one war beast. We're gathering survivors, building a real resistance. How do you do it? Asked June. The beasts are so strong. Han's eyes darkened. The Morax made their beasts to cause pain, to enjoy hurting. Our dogs fight to protect. It's not about being bigger or having more teeth. It's about why you fight. She nodded to Jin, who pressed a button on her collar. The light changed from blue to green. Mal the dog stood straighter, eyes more alert. The neural link is active now, said Han. Jin and Mal share thoughts, in a way. Not words, but feelings, images. They hunt as one. General Park looked at the dogs around the room with new respect. And you think this can work on a larger scale? It has to, said Han. Because every hour, the Morax drop more beasts, and they're learning about us, adjusting their attacks. She turned to her brother. June, I need your help. You've seen their ships, their base. We need to hit them where it hurts. June nodded slowly. The strike team. To their main ship. Yes, said Han. But first, you need to meet the rest of our team. And June. She put her hand on his shoulder. You need a dog. She whistled, and a lean brown dog with alert ears trotted over. This is Ba. He lost his handler 2 days ago. But he's still fighting. The dog looked up at June with clear, intelligent eyes. June knelt down and held out his hand. Ba sniffed it, then pushed his head against June's palm. Hello, Ba, said June quietly. Want to help me save Earth? 3 days later, June crouched behind a fallen wall. Ba lay next to him, brown eyes fixed on the street ahead. The neural collar around the dog's neck glowed green, matching the small device behind June's ear. Ready? Asked Han through the radio. She and Dury were 2 blocks away with another team. Ready, said June. He felt strange feelings in his mind. Not his own, but Ba's. Excitement. Focus. The dog wanted to hunt. All teams, move out, ordered Han. June and Ba moved forward, staying low. 5 more handler dog teams followed them. Their mission: clear the eastern part of the city and rescue the humans hiding there. The Morax had 5 war beasts in this area. June's team needed to kill them all. Ba stopped, nose in the air. June felt the dogs alert through their link. Something was close. Hold, whispered June to the teams behind him. He pointed ahead, where a shadow moved between buildings. It was one of the bigger war beasts. 8 legs, a long body covered in hard scales, and a head with too many eyes. It dragged something behind it, a human leg. The beast was bringing food back to its nest. June felt Baz growl before he heard it. The dog's muscles tensed. Through their link, June knew what Bai wanted to do. Attack. Kill. Wait, he whispered. We do this right. He gave hand signals to the other teams. 3 dogs moved to the left, 2 to the right. June and Bai would be the bait. Taking a deep breath, June stepped into the open. Hey, he shouted. The war beast dropped its prey and turned. Its many eyes focused on June. It made a sound. half hiss, half growl, and started moving toward him. "Now, Ba," said June. The brown dog shot forward like an arrow, but he didn't attack the beast head-on. Instead, he ran past it, teeth snapping at one leg. The war beast turned to follow, distracted. That's when the other dogs attacked from the sides. 2 large black dogs hit the beast's right side. A spotted hound and a gray dog hit its left. The beast shrieked, trying to turn, to fight back. But the dogs were too quick, too coordinated. They bit, released, moved, bit again. June felt Ba's mind guiding the pack. The dog was telling the others where to strike, when to pull back. The war beast's tail whipped around, hitting one handler. The woman fell, but her dog fought on, more fiercely now. The beast managed to grab another dog in its jaws. Blood flew. "Now," shouted June. All handlers fired their special guns at once. Blue energy hit the beast from all sides. It froze, its muscles locked. The dogs pulled back, waiting. June walked forward, his own gun pointed at the beast's head. Its many eyes followed him, hate burning in them. "This is for Earth," said June, and fired. The beast collapsed, finally dead. The injured dog was hurt but alive. Its handler treated its wounds with quick, practiced moves. The team regrouped. "One down," said Jin, who led this mission with June. 4 to go. Suddenly, their radios crackled. "All teams." It was Han's voice, urgent. "Fall back to point B. They've launched a counterattack." June and Ba ran with the others toward the meeting point. When they arrived, they found Han's team defending a small bunker. Outside, 3 war beasts attacked again and again. "They're working together," said Han, shock in her voice. They never did that before. June watched the beasts move. They were coordinating, one distracting while the others looked for weak spots in the defenses. "They're learning," he said. "The Morax are changing them." Han nodded grimly. "Then we need to change too." She pulled out a map. "The main Morax ship landed here, in the old stadium. We think Empress Sio is there." "You want to attack their leader?" asked Jin. "Yes," said Han. "But first, we need to show them something they've never seen before." She looked at all the dogs around them. Each one stood alert, ready to fight despite the odds. "We need to show them what Earth's dogs can really do when they fight as one pack." Bai pressed against June's leg. Through their link, June felt the dog's courage, his determination. There was no fear, only the drive to protect. "How do we do that?" asked June. Han smiled. "By letting them be what they truly are, the greatest hunters this planet has ever known." June felt it through his link with Ba, a sudden burst of alarm, not from his dog, but from somewhere else. Then came an image. The K9 building, darkness, danger. "Han's in trouble," he said to General Park. "I need to go now." "Take 20 teams," said Park. "We'll hold here." June and Ba led the rescue force. They moved fast through the broken city, following the strange feeling that pulled them toward the K9 headquarters. When they arrived, they found chaos. War beasts fought with Earth dogs in the open training grounds. Handlers fired at the beasts when they could, but the fighting was too mixed, too fast to get clean shots. "Find Han," June told Ba. The brown dog sniffed the air, then ran toward the main building. Inside, they found a strange scene. Empress Sio stood in the middle of a room, surrounded by 5 war beasts. But the beasts weren't attacking. They were forming a wall around her. Beyond them, Han stood with Dury and at least 30 other dogs. The dogs moved as one unit, circling the Empress and her guards. When one war beast lunged, 3 dogs would counter it, driving it back. "Han," called June. His sister looked up. Blood ran down her face from a cut on her forehead, but her eyes were bright. "Just in time, little brother," she said. "We have the Empress trapped." Sio hissed. "Trapped? I am never trapped. My war beasts are the perfect killers." "Perfect," said Han. They're losing. All across Earth, they're losing to our dogs. Impossible, said the Empress. My beasts are designed with. That's your problem, cut in June. They're designed, made in labs. Our dogs evolved with us, fought with us for thousands of years. Han stepped forward. You create beasts to cause pain. Our dogs fight to protect. That's the difference. The Empress looked confused for the first time. You speak as if these animals have choice. They do, said Han simply. As if to prove her point, one of the smaller dogs in her pack walked forward. It was an old gray dog with only 3 legs. It looked at the war beasts without fear, then sat down directly in front of them. The war beasts shifted, uncertain. They had been made to attack things that ran, that showed fear. This calm defiance confused them. Your beasts follow orders, said June. Our dogs choose to fight with us. That's why you're losing. The Empress's star-filled eyes narrowed. So Earth has something new to teach the Morax after all. She pressed a button on her wrist. A loud sound filled the air. The war beasts around her stiffened. Step aside, she ordered them. Let me see these Earth dogs properly. To everyone's surprise, the war beasts moved away. The Empress walked forward until she stood face to face with Han. Duri growled, but Han kept him at her side. 12 worlds we have conquered, said Sioa quietly. Each time, we study the species first, learn their fears. Then we design the perfect predator to break them. But you never met a species that already had a partner, said Han. The Empress looked at the dogs around her. No species has ever shown such a bond with another kind of life. She reached out as if to touch Duri, then pulled back. Your dogs are not stronger than my war beasts, not faster, not more deadly. Yet they win. How? June saw the truth then. The mighty Morax, with all their biological science, couldn't understand the simplest thing about Earth. It's not about being stronger, he said. It's about fighting together. Humans and dogs evolved side by side. We learned from each other, trusted each other. Your war beasts were bred to torture, Han added. Our dogs were born in it, born in struggle, in survival. The hard way, the real way. The Empress stared at Han for a long moment. Then she pressed another button on her wrist. Perhaps, she said, I have made a mistake. Behind her, the largest war beast suddenly moved. It leaped at Han with impossible speed. But Duri was faster. The dog jumped to meet it in midair. The 2 beasts crashed together in a blur of teeth and claws. The room filled with the sounds of fierce fighting as Duri and the war beast crashed to the floor. The other dogs rushed forward, forming a living wall between Han and the danger. No, shouted the Empress. This is between your champion and mine. Han started to move forward, but June held her back. Wait, he said. Look. Duri was not fighting alone. Through the neural link, every dog in the room felt his thoughts, his plans, and Duri felt theirs. As the war beast tried to pin him down, 2 other dogs darted in from the sides, biting at the creature's legs, then jumping away. They're pack hunting, said June with awe. The war beast was bigger and stronger, but it fought alone. Duri and the others moved like one animal with many bodies. When the beast turned to attack one, 3 others would strike from behind. The Empress watched, her star-filled eyes wide. This is unexpected. Suddenly, the war beast let out a terrible cry. Duri had found a weak spot at its throat and bit down hard. The beast thrashed, then went still. Duri stood over it, bloody but alive. He looked at the Empress and growled, low and dangerous. Your turn, said Han to So. The blue-skinned alien looked around at the circle of dogs and humans closing in. For the first time, she looked afraid. Wait, she said, raising her hands. Perhaps we can make a new deal. No more deals, said General Park, who had arrived with more forces. You attacked our world. You tried to destroy us. The Empress straightened. Then kill me. But know this, more Moraks will come. We always come. Han stepped forward. No, we won't kill you. Han. June looked at his sister in surprise. You're going to take a message back to your people, Han told the Empress. Tell them Earth is not a world to conquer. Tell them what you learned here. She pointed to the dogs around them. Tell them that humans don't fight alone. We never have. The Empress looked at Duri, who still stood over her defeated war beast. What you have with these animals? It's not just a weapon, is it? No, said Han. It's a partnership, one that took thousands of years to build. Sioa nodded slowly. I will tell my people. She pressed a button on her wrist. My ships will retreat. The war beasts will shut down. Just like that? Asked June, not believing it. The Moraks do not waste resources on lost battles, said the Empress, and I have much to study from this defeat. 3 days later, they stood on a hill watching the last Morak ship leave Earth's atmosphere. Reports from around the world confirmed that the war beasts had all collapsed, as if switched off. Do you think they'll come back? Asked June. Han shrugged. Maybe, but we'll be ready. She looked down at the valley below, where hundreds of dogs ran and played. Some were trained military dogs, others were pets that had joined the fight, and many were strays that had shown up to help when Earth needed them most. We should build something, said June. A memorial, to remember what happened here. 6 months later, Han and June stood in the new park in the center of New Seoul. Before them stood a statue of a human and dog standing side by side. At the base, words were carved in stone, not created as weapons, but born as companions. In our darkest hour, they reminded us what humanity truly means. Duri sat at Han's feet, his coat shiny and healthy again. The scar on his side from the final battle would always be there, just like the scar on Han's face from the resource wars. Do you think the Moraks learned anything? Asked June, scratching Ba behind the ears. Han watched a family walk by with 2 small dogs on leashes. The children laughed as the dogs ran circles around them. I hope so, she said. I hope they learn that the strongest bonds can't be created in a lab. They have to be earned, day by day, year by year. Duri looked up at her, his brown eyes full of understanding. Through their neural link, Han felt his simple, pure thought. Together, together, she agreed, resting her hand on his head. And all across Earth, dogs and humans walked side by side, as they had for thousands of years, and as they would for thousands more. The end.